Are you feeling weighed down by life's challenges, battling unseen forces that seem to stand in the way of your peace and success? What if there was a powerful prayer, one that has protected warriors for over 3,000 years, ready to shield you from the chaos of your day? Psalm 91 isn't just scripture, it's a spiritual weapon that activates divine protection over your life, family, and future. It takes less than 3 minutes to pray, but its impact lasts all day. Ready to step under God's covering and walk in victory? Let's dive in. Right now, as you're watching this, there's a battle going on that you can't see. Unseen forces are working against you, fighting for your peace, your family, and your future. It might feel like everything is out of your control, like the world is pushing against you from every direction. But here's the good news. There's a prayer that's been protecting God's people for over 3,000 years. A prayer that you can pray in less than 3 minutes. And it's called Psalm 91. For centuries, warriors would pray these words before heading into battle. It's why Psalm 91 is often called the soldier's psalm. But here's the truth most people miss. When you pray Psalm 91 each morning, you're not just reciting a passage of scripture. You're stepping under a divine shield of protection that covers every area of your life, from your home to your health, your mind to your relationships. Psalm 91 isn't a gentle poetic prayer. No, it's a declaration. It's a line in the sand, a spiritual battle cry against anything that tries to harm or destroy what God has given you. When you speak it out loud, you're not just hoping for protection, you're claiming it. And that's where the power lies. Let's break down what you're really saying when you pray this psalm. It starts with the words, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." This isn't about visiting God on Sundays or when things go wrong. To dwell means to live there, to make God's presence your home. Think of it like standing under an umbrella in a storm. The rain is still falling, but you're not getting wet. That's the protection you're claiming every day. And then it gets personal. Verse 2 says, "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust." Notice the word "say." This is crucial. You have to speak it out loud. When you declare God as your refuge, you're not just praying for protection, you're making a statement. You're claiming His shelter over your life. You're setting the tone for the day ahead, knowing that no matter what comes, you are covered. But it doesn't stop there. Verses 3 to 6 talk about the dangers that might come your way. Traps, deadly diseases, terror at night, arrows flying during the day. And some people might wonder, isn't this just ancient history? But these aren't just ancient threats. They're very real problems today. Sudden accidents, illnesses that come out of nowhere, financial trouble, toxic relationships, and even attacks on your reputation. Verse 5 says, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day." Terror by night. That's every restless, anxious thought that keeps you up at 3 a.m. The ones that make you toss and turn feeling like there's no escape. Arrows by day. That's the betrayal from someone you trusted, the criticism, the accusations that come out of nowhere. It's those hidden battles that feel like they're coming from all directions. But the promise doesn't end there. Psalm 91 continues with verse 7, which is one of my favorite parts. "1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee." Imagine that. Picture standing in the middle of chaos, people losing jobs, marriages falling apart, sickness spreading everywhere, and you're standing untouched in the midst of it all. That's not just luck. That's divine protection. Psalm 91 isn't just some nice verse to read. It's a shield for your life. Think about King David in the Bible running for his life from King Saul, who had an entire army hunting him down. David was nearly caught many times, but 1 Samuel chapter 23 verse 14 says Saul sought him every day, but God delivered him not into his hand. David was a man who knew God's protection. Psalm 91 wasn't just a verse he read, it was his survival manual. Or consider Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel chapter 6 verse 22 says, "My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths." Those lions were hungry, starving in fact, yet they couldn't touch him. Why? Because Daniel lived in that secret place with God. He didn't just pray when things were going bad. He made God his dwelling place every single day. And you know what? That same protection is available to you today. Right now. The promise in Psalm 91 is yours to claim. When you pray it, you're not just hoping that something will work out. You're setting up a spiritual shield that no enemy can break through. Verse 10 says it clearly, "There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling." And when it says dwelling, it's not just talking about your physical house. It's your body, your mind, your finances, your relationships. Every part of you is protected when you pray Psalm 91. That's what I want you to understand. When you speak these words over your life, you're drawing a line in the sand. You're saying, "This is where I stand. I choose protection. I choose victory." But it's not just about the words you say. It's about your relationship with God. Psalm 91 is tied to that personal connection you have with Him. When you genuinely love God, when you spend time with Him, not just on Sundays, but every day, He personally guarantees your safety. Verse 14 tells us, "Because He hath set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him." Your protection is connected to your relationship with God. It's about more than just reciting words. It's about a deep personal connection with your Creator. When you make that connection real, Psalm 91 becomes your weapon of defense. In the next part, we'll continue to explore the powerful promises of Psalm 91 and why it's crucial to make it a part of your daily routine. Stay with me as we break it down further. Now that we've laid the foundation, let's dive deeper into the powerful promises Psalm 91 holds for you. In verse 11, we get an incredible reminder of just how far God's protection goes. It says, "For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways." Can you imagine that personal bodyguards, angels specifically assigned to protect you? These aren't passive, distant watchers. They are active, working to block attacks you don't even know are coming your way. They're not there just to look out for you when things go wrong. They're constantly keeping you safe, whether you're aware of it or not. And that's something we often overlook: the invisible forces working behind the scenes to guard our lives. Think about it this way. When you get that sudden feeling of peace in the middle of a stressful day, or when you narrowly avoid an accident on the road, those might not just be coincidences. Those could very well be the angels that Psalm 91 talks about, protecting you in ways you can't even see. This is how personal God's protection is. He doesn't just protect you from physical harm. He's covering every part of your life: your emotions, your finances, your health, your relationships. In verse 12, we get another promise. "They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone." This isn't just about big, life-threatening events. It's about the small things, too. The little stumbles, the minor accidents, the moments when you're on the edge of something going wrong. God's protection is there for the big battles and the little ones. He's got your back in every situation. But here's where it gets even more personal. In verse 14 we read, "Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him." This is the key to unlocking all the protection that Psalm 91 promises. Your relationship with God is the foundation. It's about setting your love upon Him, choosing Him over everything else. When you truly love God, not just in words, but in your daily life, He promises to deliver you from danger. Let me share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I was dealing with a season of uncertainty. My family was going through financial struggles, and I felt like every step I took was leading to more stress and worry. I was praying, asking God for help, but it was hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. One morning, I decided to pray Psalm 91 out loud, just like it says to do every day. I wasn't just reading the words. I was claiming them, speaking them over my life, my family, and our finances. That day, something shifted. I can't explain it, but I felt an overwhelming sense of peace, like God's protection was surrounding me in ways I hadn't experienced before. Within a few days, doors began to open. The financial pressure started to ease up, and opportunities I hadn't even imagined came to the surface. It was like I was walking in a different reality, one where God's promises were actively at work in my life. And I'm telling you, that's the power of Psalm 91. It's not just words, it's spiritual warfare. Verse 15 tells us, "He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him." This isn't just a promise of protection, it's a promise of God's presence. He's with you in the trouble. He doesn't leave you alone to figure it out on your own. He walks with you through the storm, and He'll never abandon you. So when you pray Psalm 91, you're not just claiming protection, you're inviting God's presence into every area of your life. You're saying, "God, I need you. I trust you. I know you're with me." And when you do that, His presence surrounds you in a way that nothing else can. Verse 16 wraps it all up with a final promise. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. God wants to bless you with long life, a life full of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. You're not meant to just get by. God wants to give you a life that's satisfying, full of His salvation. That means His protection, His favor, His provision, all of it working together to give you the abundant life He's promised. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's not enough to just hear these promises. You have to activate them in your life. And that's why it's so important to pray Psalm 91 every day. Not once, not when you remember, but every morning. Before you check your phone. Before you get caught up in your to-do list. Before you let the stress of the day take over, declare Psalm 91 over your life. Speak it out loud and let those words reshape your atmosphere. I know it's not always easy. Life throws distractions at us. The enemy doesn't want you to pray this prayer. He knows what happens when you do. He knows the protection it activates, the doors it closes against him. That's why when you start, you'll often feel resistance. You might forget. You might get distracted. But push through. Don't give up. Pray Psalm 91 for 30 days straight and watch what happens. Watch how problems that seemed impossible begin to resolve. Watch how opportunities that seemed closed suddenly open. Watch how the people who were against you either change or disappear from your path. Psalm 91 is more than just a prayer, it's a spiritual weapon. Your morning prayer isn't just a religious routine, it's spiritual warfare. It's you telling the darkness, not today, not my family, not my peace, not my destiny. So here's what I want you to do. Don't just watch this video and move on. Take action. Pray Psalm 91 every morning and watch how it transforms your life. If this video has blessed you, share it with someone who needs this protection right now. And after you've prayed Psalm 91 for 7 days, come back and leave a comment. Let's build a community of believers who actually walk in divine protection, not just talk about it. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to Bible Undefeated, and remember, you are not alone in this battle. God's got you covered. His angels are watching over you, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. Now go start your day the right way. Pray Psalm 91 and walk in total victory. So far, we've uncovered some incredible promises in Psalm 91. Promises of divine protection, angels guarding you and God's presence surrounding you in every situation. But what happens when you make Psalm 91 your daily prayer? What does it really mean to pray it every morning before the rush of the day begins? Let me tell you, this isn't just about reading words on a page or repeating a few lines out of habit. When you commit to praying Psalm 91 each day, you're actively choosing to walk in the victory God has already promised you. You're setting the tone for the day and aligning your life with His protection. I want to challenge you to make Psalm 91 your first prayer of the day. This prayer has the power to change everything: your mindset, your actions, even the atmosphere around you. When you start your day by speaking these words out loud, you're declaring to the spiritual world that you are covered by God's protection. You're stepping into His safety, His provision, and His victory. Think about it each morning before you check your phone or dive into your to-do list. Speak Psalm 91 over your life. Speak it over your family, your home, your finances, and your health. As you declare these words, you're not just hoping that things will go well, you're actively inviting God's power into every part of your day. It's like putting on armor before you step out into the battlefield of life. The enemy knows the power of Psalm 91, which is why he'll do everything in his power to distract you from praying it. He knows that when you pray these words, you activate divine protection. You close doors to his attacks and open doors to God's blessings. That's why distractions will come, why you'll feel resistance. You might forget, or you might feel too busy. But here's the key: push through. Make it a habit. Be consistent. You see, consistency is where the power lies. When you commit to praying Psalm 91 every single day for 30 days, you'll start to see a shift. You'll notice things happening in your life that you can't explain. Problems that seemed unsolvable will begin to resolve. Opportunities that were once closed will start to open. The people who once stood against you might change or even disappear from your path. This isn't coincidence. This is divine intervention, the kind of protection and victory promised in Psalm 91. But the real transformation doesn't just happen in your external circumstances. It happens inside you, in your heart, in your mind. in your spirit. Psalm 91 doesn't just protect you from physical danger. It also covers your emotional and spiritual well-being. When you pray these words, you're allowing God's peace to rule in your heart. You're telling anxiety, fear, and worry that they no longer have a hold on you. For example, if you're struggling with anxiety or fear about the future, Psalm 91 reminds you that you don't have to fear the terror by night or the arrows that fly by day. Every time you pray, you're actively releasing your worries to God and receiving His peace in return. When the world tries to fill your mind with chaos, Psalm 91 brings peace that surpasses understanding. And it's not just about protection from external threats. It's also about God's provision. Psalm 91 promises that no plague will come near your dwelling, and that God will provide angels to guard you in all your ways. That means God is watching over your finances, your relationships, and your work. When you pray this psalm, you're saying, God, I trust you to provide for me in every area of my life. You're allowing His provision to flow into your life, trusting that He's got everything under control. But let's be clear, praying Psalm 91 isn't some magical incantation where you say the words and everything automatically becomes perfect. It's not a one-time fix, and it's not a passive process. This is where the true power of the prayer lies in your relationship with God. The promises of Psalm 91 are tied to your connection with Him. As verse 14 says, because He hath set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. God's protection isn't random. It's tied to your love for Him. It's about making God your priority, about seeking His presence daily. When you set your love on Him, when you spend time with Him, you're inviting Him into every part of your life. That's when the promises of Psalm 91 come alive, not just because you're praying the words, but because you're in relationship with the one who made those promises. This isn't about religion. It's about a real living relationship with God. It's about being intentional every day to say, God, I choose you. I trust you. I want to dwell in your presence. And when you make that choice, the protection, the peace, and the victory of Psalm 91 become your reality. Now let's talk about one final promise in this psalm, a promise that's so powerful it can change your entire perspective. Psalm 91:16 says, with long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. This is the promise of a full, abundant life. Not just surviving, but thriving. God doesn't just want you to make it through the day. He wants you to experience the fullness of His blessing, long life, health, peace, provision, and salvation. This isn't about just escaping danger or getting by. It's about living a life that's satisfying, a life that's marked by God's salvation, His deliverance, His wholeness, His fullness. That's why I'm urging you to make Psalm 91 your daily prayer. This isn't a quick fix or a momentary solution. This is a lifestyle of protection, victory, and blessing. And the more you pray it, the more you'll experience it. So don't just let this be something you watch. Make it something you live. Take a step of faith today and start praying Psalm 91 every morning. Let it become the foundation of your day, the shield around your life. And watch how God transforms your situation, your heart, and your future. As we continue on this journey through Psalm 91, it's time to talk about the crucial element that turns this powerful prayer into a daily habit: consistency. You see, Psalm 91 isn't meant to be just a one-off prayer that you pray once when you remember. It's a declaration, a daily choice to step into God's protection and live in the victory He promises. The real power comes from making Psalm 91 part of your everyday life, and consistency is key. You may have heard it said that success in life isn't about big, flashy actions. It's about the small, consistent things you do every single day. The same principle applies to praying Psalm 91. It's not about praying it once and expecting everything to change overnight. It's about declaring it daily, making it the first thing you speak over your life every morning before anything else. The more you do it, the more you will see God's protection, peace, and provision unfold in your life. This is why I challenge you to commit to praying Psalm 91 every single day for 30 days straight. It's not about a quick fix, it's about a lifestyle of prayer. You'll be amazed at the changes you'll start to see, not just in your circumstances, but in your heart and mind. As you make it a habit, you'll feel more connected to God and more at peace with the storms around you. You'll find yourself walking in victory, not because everything is perfect, but because you know you're covered by the promises of Psalm 91. When you pray this prayer every morning, you're setting the tone for your day. You're speaking protection over yourself and your loved ones. You're declaring that no matter what happens, God is your refuge, your fortress, and your deliverer. You're choosing peace over anxiety, courage over fear, and trust over doubt. And here's the thing, as you continue in this daily habit, your life begins to reflect that protection and peace. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was dealing with a stressful work situation. It felt like everything was falling apart. Deadlines, pressure from management, and disagreements with colleagues. I was constantly anxious, worrying about what would happen next. One day, I decided to start praying Psalm 91 every morning. I was feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I knew I needed God's help. For the first few days, nothing dramatic changed. The challenges at work were still there, and the stress didn't go away immediately. But something started shifting in my heart. The more I prayed Psalm 91, the more I felt a sense of peace. I started to feel protected, like I had a shield around me. I was able to face the challenges at work with a new perspective. Instead of worrying and stressing, I felt more equipped to handle whatever came my way. Over time, the stress began to lift. The difficult situations at work started resolving on their own, and I began seeing new opportunities open up. It wasn't because I suddenly had everything figured out. It was because I was consistently declaring God's protection over my life and trusting that He was in control. I was walking in the victory of Psalm 91. But here's the thing, Psalm 91 isn't just a prayer for when things are going wrong. It's also a prayer that keeps you in God's protection even when everything seems fine. Life can be unpredictable, and things can change in an instant. That's why having Psalm 91 as part of your daily routine is so powerful. It prepares you for whatever comes, the good, the bad, and the unexpected. When you make this prayer a habit, you're covering every part of your life with God's protection, and nothing can take you by surprise. It's also important to remember that Psalm 91 doesn't just protect you from physical dangers. It guards your heart and mind too. One of the biggest battles we face in life is not the external threats, but the internal struggles, the anxiety, fear, and stress that can take over our minds. When you pray Psalm 91, you're not just asking for protection from harm, you're also asking for peace in your heart. Let me share another personal story. There was a time in my life when I struggled with anxiety. It felt like I was constantly on edge, worried about the future, and fearful of what might go wrong. I knew I needed to find peace, but nothing seemed to work. That's when I started praying Psalm 91 every morning. As I prayed those words out loud, I could feel my anxiety begin to melt away. It wasn't an instant fix, but over time I found myself becoming more calm, more at peace, and more trusting of God's plan for my life. This is the power of consistency. As you pray Psalm 91 every day, you're not just reciting words. You're actively choosing to replace fear and anxiety with peace and trust. You're allowing God to be your refuge, your fortress, your protector, and your provider. And here's something else. When you commit to praying Psalm 91 every morning, you start to see God's protection not just in your life, but in the lives of those around you. As you declare His promises over your family, your friends, your co-workers, you're covering them with His protection too. It's like building a wall of spiritual protection around everyone you love. You see, Psalm 91 isn't just for you. It's for your family, your home, your community. When you pray it, you're inviting God's protection into every part of your life and the lives of those you care about. You're standing in the gap for them, speaking God's promises over their lives and believing for the same protection and victory that you're claiming for yourself. This is why I encourage you to take the challenge seriously. Pray Psalm 91 every day for 30 days. And watch how your life begins to change. Watch how your mind becomes more peaceful, your heart more trusting, and your circumstances more aligned with God's will. You're not just praying for protection, you're inviting God's presence into every area of your life. And that's where the real transformation happens. As we approach the final part of this journey through Psalm 91, I want to emphasize the most important truth I've discovered about this powerful prayer. It's not just about saying the words, it's about living them. Psalm 91 isn't just a prayer for protection. It's a lifestyle of faith, trust, and commitment to God. And when you make it your daily practice, it becomes the foundation for walking in victory every day. Let's be clear, life will still have challenges. No one is exempt from difficulties. But when you commit to praying Psalm 91 every morning, you are positioning yourself for victory in the midst of those challenges. You are activating divine protection, and more importantly, You are aligning your heart and mind with God's promises. This alignment is what gives you the strength to face anything that comes your way, with courage, peace, and trust. In Psalm 91, God promises that He will protect you from every kind of danger, from sickness, from anxiety, from betrayal, from spiritual attacks, and even from the darkness that tries to take away your peace. But it's up to you to consistently claim that protection. And how do you claim it? Through daily prayer and declaration. There's an important lesson here. When we declare Psalm 91 over our lives each day, we are not just protecting ourselves from harm, we're also building a daily habit of connecting with God. That connection is essential for walking in victory, because it's not just the prayer that changes things, but the relationship with God that you cultivate. In the Bible, we see many examples of people who walked in victory because of their deep relationship with God. Think about King David. He was constantly under threat, yet he survived because he lived in God's presence. He knew Psalm 91 wasn't just a nice idea, it was his survival strategy. And it worked for him, just as it will work for you. David didn't just pray when he was in trouble. He made time for God every day. He prayed, worshiped, and meditated on God's word. This consistent relationship with God is what made him strong, and it's what made Psalm 91 powerful in his life. So as you pray Psalm 91 every morning, remember that this is not just about avoiding the bad stuff. It's about making God your dwelling place every single day. It's about creating a habit that brings you closer to Him. When you do that, you are walking in His victory no matter what life throws your way. But let's be real for a moment. You may be wondering, what if I miss a day? What if I forget to pray Psalm 91 in the chaos of life? I get it. Life can be overwhelming and it's easy to get distracted or forget. But here's the beautiful thing. God's grace covers you. Don't let guilt or shame keep you from coming back to Him. The key is to keep going, even when you slip up. Don't let one missed day turn into a missed week, a missed month, or a missed year. Just get back on track the next day. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means dedication. It means making the choice day after day to prioritize God's protection and His presence. And when you do this consistently over time, you'll notice how your life changes. You'll notice a shift in how you respond to life's challenges. Instead of getting anxious or upset, you'll find yourself turning to God in prayer, declaring Psalm 91 over the situation, and walking in His peace. You'll notice a change in your perspective. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the problems around you, you'll begin to see the ways God is working behind the scenes to bring solutions. But don't just take my word for it. Take the challenge and see for yourself. Commit to praying Psalm 91 every day for the next 30 days. Set a reminder if you need to. Make it the first thing you do in the morning, before your phone, before your to-do list, before the noise of the world creeps in. Speak those words over your life, your family, your home, and your future. Then watch what happens. Watch how the promises of Psalm 91 come alive in your life. Watch how the protection, peace, and victory begin to unfold. It might not be immediate, but as you continue to speak these words and trust God, you'll see a shift. You'll see doors open that were once closed, relationships healed that seemed broken beyond repair, and a new sense of peace and purpose that fills your heart. Psalm 91 is not just about protecting you from external dangers. It's about protecting your mind, your spirit, and your heart. It's about aligning your life with God's will and walking in His peace every single day. It's about building a foundation of faith and trust in God one day at a time. As you pray this prayer daily, you're not just saying words. You're entering into spiritual warfare, declaring that no weapon formed against you will prosper. You're saying, "Not today, Satan. Not my family. Not my peace. Not my destiny." That's powerful. That's how you take authority over the enemy and live in the victory that Jesus has already won for you. Now, before we close, let me remind you of something crucial. God's protection is always available to you. You don't have to beg or plead for it. It's already been given to you through His promises. Psalm 91 is a prayer of declaration, not desperation. When you speak these words, you are simply aligning your life with what God has already declared over you. So as we finish, I want to encourage you to commit to this daily practice. Don't let this be just another video you watch and forget. Take action. Pray Psalm 91 every day for 30 days. Start each morning by declaring God's protection over your life. Watch as your life begins to transform as you walk in the peace and victory He has promised you. And as you experience God's protection, I'd love to hear your story. Come back and share your testimony of how Psalm 91 has made a difference in your life. Let's build a community of believers who are not just talking about God's protection, but living in it every single day. Remember, you're not alone in this battle. God's got you covered, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. Now go ahead, start your day the right way. Pray Psalm 91 and walk in total victory. As you step into each new day, remember that God's protection is already promised to you. All you have to do is claim it. Psalm 91 isn't just a prayer. It's a shield that surrounds you, your loved ones, and every part of your life. So make it a daily habit and watch as His peace, provision, and victory unfold in ways you never imagined. If this video spoke to your heart, go ahead and subscribe, and join us as we walk in the powerful protection of God together. You've got this, and He's got you.